And staying with rugby, Nelson has scored its first ever All Blacks Test match after spending more than $1 million convincing the Rugby Union it was a serious host. Here's Tracy Neal.
It didn't take long for Nelsonians to react to the news that the city has been included in the All Blacks home test schedule next year.
Oh, absolutely wonderful, fabulous. We will be there to get the tickets as soon as they're on sale.
Fantastic. I think it's the first time, about time, and I think it'll be great. I'm definitely going to go.
Fantastic, mate. We need more of them. We deserve it. Let's go. Go All Blacks!
It's a good thing, I think, because the more provincial towns need to get a bit better view of what's going on, rather than it always being the big cities.
Nelson's Economic Development Agency helped drive the bid that will see Trafalgar Park host the All Blacks Test against Argentina on September the 8th next year. Chief Executive Mark Rawson says the Rugby Union initially thought it was joking when Nelson put up its hand.
The response that we got from the Rugby Union, first of all, shall we say, surprising and perhaps not really taking us seriously, to be brutally honest.
The pitch cost more than $1 million with backing from the Tasman Rugby Union, 3 private sector investors and the Nelson City Council, which gave $300,000 through its events fund. Deputy Mayor Paul Matheson says it's likely that more money will have to be spent on upgrading Trafalgar Park, over and above the millions it cost to bring it up to scratch for Rugby World Cup in 2011. It currently seats 18,000.
We need to increase our seating capacity up to around 21,000. So that's going to require us to bring in obviously some temporary stuff, and that's what the Rugby Union are looking at. Yes, there's always money has to be spent to get a return.
But Nelson's gain is Christchurch's pain. The Canterbury Rugby Union says there are clear criteria for awarding All Black tests, and Christchurch needs to accept its facilities and infrastructure no longer meet that criteria. The Crusaders' chief executive, Hamish Riak, says they're bitterly disappointed for the fans.
We know Christchurch and Christchurch people, Canterbury people, love the All Blacks. They love big events, and for this community not to see the All Blacks play for a number of years was very, very disappointing.
New Zealand Rugby has confirmed Christchurch won't be given a test in 2019 either. Back in Nelson, Paul Matheson says finding enough beds for the expected visitor influx could be a problem, but Blenheim, about 120 kilometres away, is expected to take the overflow.
Frequently people come and stay in Marlborough when we have Marcos games and vice versa. So depending on the type of accommodation, we'll be able to probably put up most of it, but no, they'll have to travel a little way. Yeah.
Mr Rawson says they've banked on visitors making up about 40% of the expected crowd, who will also be treated to a festival that was included in Nelson's pitch. And Nelson has other sporting fixtures in its sights.
Next year, we're going to be able to have the All Blacks, the Black Caps, probably, if not next year, certainly in the next couple of years, the Silver Ferns. It's all about creating a world-class regional city in New Zealand that is attractive for people, for talent to live.
In Nelson for Checkpoint, Tracy Neal.